Hello there, very good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime News on TV1 for the Newsfirst, where the people come first. I'm Martin Satyanesan. Let's start off with a look at your headlines for this afternoon.
Proposal to remove the administrative board of Sri Lanka cricket tabled in Parliament. Voting to take place today.
Sri Lanka cricket ආයතනයේ සභාපති ඇතුළු නිලධාරී මණ්ඩලය ඉවත් කිරීමේ යෝජනාව.
නායකතුමා ඉදිරිපත් කරන ලබන යෝජනාව මම විස්තර කරනවා.
Special security opposite Sri Lanka cricket. The last match at the ICC Cricket World Cup 2023 to be held today. Postal strike continues. Public health inspectors engage in a strike today as well. Showers above 75 millimeters in several provinces. Mortal remains of Sri Lankan national Sujit Bandara Yatavara, who died in a Hamas attack in Israel, brought back to Sri Lanka. 50,000 Palestinians exit Gaza during the past 24 hours.
On to those stories in detail. Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa today presented a groundbreaking recommendation to bring forward a new act to govern Sri Lanka cricket and to remove the current management of the organisation. This recommendation was endorsed by Minister Nimal Siripala de Silva on behalf of the government.
ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ ක්‍රිකට් ක්‍රීඩාවේ උන්නතිය සඳහා දූෂිත වර්තමාන ශ්‍රී ලංකා ක්‍රිකට් ආයතනයේ සභාපති ඇතුළු නිලධාරී මණ්ඩලය වහා ඉවත් විය යුතුයයිද? දූෂණයෙන් තොරව ක්‍රිකට් පරිපාලනයේ විනිවිද භාවයෙන් යුතුව පවත්වාගෙන
In order to ensure the fair and ethical management of cricket in Sri Lanka, it is imperative that the current president of Sri Lanka Cricket and other members who have been accused of corruption step down immediately. The implementation of a new act to govern cricket in the country is also essential to prevent future instances of corruption. I strongly urge the Parliament to consider this recommendation seriously. The recommendations presented today are of paramount importance. This marks the beginning of unity. Through this, we send a clear message to the corrupt management of Sri Lanka cricket. Relying on political differences within Parliament will not allow you to continue your corrupt practices. This ends today. Cricket must be free from all political influence. The group that has colluded with the underworld, drug dealers, and engaged in sexual activities and drug racketeering must be brought to the justice. We need an effective method. I propose that a group of MPs be designated to oversee the affairs of Sri Lanka cricket. This group would be responsible for gathering suggestions from MPs for improving the sport, consulting with relevant authorities, and incorporating those suggestions into decision making. This would allow MPs to become stakeholders in the betterment of cricket. The notion that political influence is running the sport is a blatant lie. By voting in favor of this recommendation, we can make our voices heard and show the country that we are united. While we may not expect the corrupt officials within Sri Lanka cricket to step down immediately, there is one way to ensure their departure. The state and the judiciary wholeheartedly support the sport, just as the legislature is doing.
රටට අපි පෙන්නනවා අපි එකතුයි කියලා. හැබැයි ඒක උණයි කියලා. හිතනවද මේ ශ්‍රී ලංකා ක්‍රිකට් එකේ ඉන්න හොර කල්ලිය ජාවාරම් කල්ලිය අද හෝ හෙට ඉවත් වෙයි කියලා. ඒගොල්ලෝ ඉවත් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. හැබැයි ඉවත් කරන්න පුළුවන් එක තැනක් තියෙනවා. ව්‍යවස්ථාදායකයා අද එකතු වෙනවා සේම මේ ගමනට විධායකයත් එකතු වෙන්න ඕන, අධිකරණයත් එකතු වෙන්නට ඕන.
Heavy security was seen opposite Sri Lanka cricket premises today.
The entry route to Sri Lanka cricket from the Vidya Mavata was closed this morning. Heavy police presence was also reported in the area. Meanwhile, the leader of the Janaseta Peramuna, Venerable Battaramulle Seelaratana Thero, arrived at Sri Lanka cricket to submit a letter pertaining to the audit report of the institution. I was the one who first spoke about corruption in Sri Lanka cricket. I am not sure how this board was appointed. I also submitted nominations to the post and my nomination was rejected. They asked me whether I have played any cricket. We also played cricket. Now the ones who played the game are the ones who have completely destroyed the sport by taking all the actors and actresses around the country. All the funds are being spent already. Why did Ranil Wickramasinghe reject the decision made by Roshan Ranasinghe? I will not make any comments since there is a court case. I am requesting Roshan Ranasinghe to implement the law against these corrupt individuals.
ජනාධිපති රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මැතිතුමා ඒ වගේම රොෂාන් රණසිංහ ගත්ත තීරණය වහාම ලහි.
Meanwhile, social activist Piyat Nikeshela and several others were seen gathering opposite Sri Lanka cricket. It is a struggle for people to live. Although we are here, not everyone can be here. They don't have time. They are not allowed because the road is closed. They closed it from the other end as well. People inside are taking pictures of us. We can pay part of the country's debt from the funds they have stolen. We say as the fans, there have been an audit conducted on Shammi Silva and on those who brought Sri Lanka cricket to disrepute. Their overseas travel should be banned. Law must be applied to them.
Meanwhile, Mugging Ratata organisation convening a media briefing discussed matters pertaining to the crisis in sports of cricket in Sri Lanka.
The sports minister said in parliament that an act was formed to bring cricket to a better stage in this country, and the person who is not allowing to bring this act to the parliament is Sagala Karyavasam. So the issue we have is now how can an individual who does not have public mandate can prevent an act from being presented in the parliament. You have seen over the years there have been people who are behind the scenes supporting the state leaders and Rajapaksa. Those are the ones responsible for the downfall of the state leaders and Rajapaksas. The current president's downfall also will be because of these people. Issuing a statement, the Bar Association of Sri Lanka has expressed concern regarding allegations made by a cabinet minister concerning the appointment of an interim committee to Sri Lanka cricket and the alleged conduct of a judge of the Court of Appeal. The Bar Association of Sri Lanka said it is disturbed by the allegations made by a cabinet minister in Parliament on the 8th of November 2023 in respect of a case which relates to a matter concerning the appointment of an interim committee to Sri Lanka cricket and the alleged conduct of a judge of the Court of Appeal. The statement read, "The independence of the judiciary is a fundamental principle of the rule of law, and therefore any form of undue interference with judicial independence is extremely serious and would erode public confidence in the judiciary, particularly the matters which are sub judice, thus should be condemned." The BASL has always acknowledged that an independent judiciary is a key to upholding the rule of law in a free society on the guarantee that judges will be free and will be perceived to be free to make impartial decisions based on the facts and the law in each case, and to exercise their role as protectors of the rule of law without any pressure or interference from other sources, especially the government. The BASL strongly feels that statements being made in respect of ongoing court cases and reference to judges purportedly taking over on parliamentary privileges is seen as a direct threat on the independence of the judiciary. Further, the BASL strongly believes that the judiciary is built on a foundation of faith and confidence of the general public, and thus it is of paramount importance for judicial officers to ensure said public trust is safeguarded. Whilst reiterating its commitment to upholding the rule of law, BASL strongly calls on the stakeholders to act within the provisions laid down in our Constitution and protect the independence of the judiciary at any cost.
The official ICC Men's Cricket World Cup India 2023.
Sri Lanka's last match in the ICC Cricket World Cup 2023 will be held today. Sri Lanka will take on New Zealand.
The 41st match of the tournament will be held at 2 p.m. local time in Bangalore. Both the teams took part in 8 matches in the tournament, and the victory is equally important to both Sri Lanka and New Zealand. New Zealand, which is in 4th place on the points table, needs a win today to secure their place in the semi-finals. Sri Lanka, which is in the 9th spot on the points table, needs a win today to secure their spot in the 2025 ICC Champions Trophy tournament. Cricket fans can catch all the action live via the MTV MBC Media Network, the official local broadcast rights holders of the ICC Cricket World Cup. The matches can be viewed live on TV1 and www.sirsatv.lk and on TNL. In addition, the match will also air on YFM.
Island-wide postal operations were hampered owing to the strike action carried out by the postal employees.
Operations at the Central Mail Exchange were disrupted today, and a similar situation was seen at other provinces. The Central Mail Exchange in Anuradhapura was closed today. This was the situation at the postal office in Polonnaruwa today. People visiting the premises to obtain services were inconvenienced. Postal workers in Vaunia engaged in the strike as well. The Nuwara postal office was also closed today. Operations in many postal offices across the country were closed yesterday as well. The strike is taking place against a backdrop where postal workers have been informed that their leaves have been cancelled for 3 days effective yesterday. Meanwhile, the Public Health Inspectors Union of Sri Lanka has also started a trade union action reflecting several demands, including the increase of the transport allowance. Secretary of the union S. Bopitia mentioned that not providing data on the duties performed by officers and not participating in meetings will be observed as a part of the action.
The mortal remains of Sujit Bandarayatawara, who died in Israel during a Hamas attack, was brought to the country earlier this morning. His remains were brought to the island through a Fly-Dubai flight from Dubai to Katunayaka. The remains of Sujit Bandarayatawara, who died of the attack, was identified through a DNA test conducted based on samples obtained from his children. 48-year-old Sujit Bandarayatawara was killed on the 7th of last month following the attack from Hamas in Israel. 2 Sri Lankans have died due to the conflict in Israel thus far. Meanwhile, 4 Sri Lankans are currently in the Gaza Strip. The chief of the Sri Lanka's consulate office in Palestine, Bernard Kure, noted, due to the closure of the Rafah exit, the foreigners are not being able to leave the conflict zone. He further noted they are safe. 11 Sri Lankans returned to the country recently from the Gaza Strip. 2 women from 2 different families and 9 children returned to the island in this manner. The Israel Defense Forces claims to have destroyed a Hamas tunnel near the United Nations Relief and Works Agency-sponsored school in the Beit Hanan area of the northern Gaza. Israel says 50,000 Palestinians left the Gaza city during the last 24 hours after its military opened up the main road to southern Gaza.
The IDF made the claim in a statement released Wednesday and also shared a video allegedly showing the destruction near the school through a drone camera. The IDF claimed it has destroyed 130 Hamas tunnel shafts since the start of the war, as Israel continues the expansion of its ground operation in Gaza. A senior U.S. defense official said on Wednesday that the United States has taken, quote, additional measures to communicate directly with Iran, close quote, that it does not seek to escalate conflict in the Middle East amid the Israel-Hamas war. It comes after the Pentagon announced an airstrike on a weapons storage facility in Syria used by Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Corps Guard in response to near-daily attacks by Iranian-backed groups on U.S. forces in the region. Meanwhile, the U.S. has put additional Patriot batteries at its bases in the Middle East as a result of the attacks by Iranian-backed groups in Iraq and Syria, according to a senior defense official. The Pentagon previously announced the deployment of an unknown number of Patriot batteries from the U.S. to the Middle East, but has not disclosed where specifically they were sent. Tens of thousands of people have walked from northern Gaza to the southern regions of the enclave since the establishment of periodic evacuation corridors by the Israel Defense Forces on November 4th, according to a United Nations agency for refugees. Doctors say they are running out of medical supplies as the humanitarian situation continues to deteriorate, prompting more agencies and world leaders to advocate for a pause in fighting to let aid in.
The Met Department says that showers above 75 millimeters could be experienced in the western, central, Sabaragamuwa and Uva provinces. The Met Department says that there may be scattered showers or thunderstorms in many parts of the island after 1 p.m. Northern Province and Trincomalee district may also experience rain in the morning. The Met Department further advises to take necessary measures to protect against temporary strong winds and lightning accidents that may occur with thunder showers. Moving along, the import of vehicles for public transport services has also been suspended. The State Finance Minister Ranjit Siyambalapitiya said that the 1-month period given for the import of these vehicles has also expired. The State Minister said that an opportunity can be provided to release the imported vehicles within the permitted month. Accordingly, no vehicles are permitted to be imported. The Presidential Secretariat has appointed a special committee to prepare a report on vehicle importation. The State Minister said that special attention will be given to the needs of vehicles, the space available on the roads, the cost of fuel and the exchange rate for the import of vehicles in the appointed committee. Final year students of the medical faculty of the Sabaragamuwa University says that the Sri Lanka Medical Council has issued a notice requesting the final year students to engage in their academic activities in the professorial unit of the university.
The medical faculty of the Sabaragamuwa University was established as the 10th medical faculty of the country. It was established in 2019. It has been 5 weeks since doing academic activities at the general unit of the Ratnapura Teaching Hospital started as a temporary solution. Work related to the professorial unit was done there. Sri Lanka Medical Council has informed that the academic work of the final year students which were done in the Ratnapura Teaching Hospital needs to be done again. This means that the Sri Lanka Medical Council is not giving a proper recommendation on the academic activities of the final year students.
සිදු කරන්න කියන කාරණේ එතකොට ඒකේ තේරුම තමයි ශිෂ්‍යයන් තමන්ගේ අධ්‍යයන කටයුතු සිදු කරත් මෙතනින් එහාට මේ මහාචාර්ය ඒකකයට අදාළ ගැටලුකාරී තත්ත්වයන්.
Today is the third day of the Gum at the Door-to-Door program. Gum at the teams visited many areas today as well to properly identify the woes faced by the people in rural Sri Lanka. This program is carried out for the second day together with the University of Peradeniya.
Gammadda, made in Sri Lanka.
During recent times, Gammadda was able to identify issues faced by hundreds of people in Sri Lanka owing to water, education, transport and infrastructure issues. This is the 7th edition of the Gum at the Door-to-Door program. Gum at the teams visited Kalutara, Jaffna and Trincomalee districts today as well. The Gum at the team in Kalutara will travel and meet people in Poruwadanda, Warakagoda, Remuna, Yala, Keselhenawa and Ingiriya. They first arrived at the Poruwadanda village in the Horana Divisional Secretariat. The main issue the people in this area face is the lack of clean drinking water. This is a village in Jaffna. It is the Navali East New Village in the Sandilippai Divisional Secretariat. During heavy showers, houses here get flooded. Daily activities get hampered as water takes time to flow out of the residential areas. They also face health issues amidst harsh economic conditions. The Gum at the team in Trincomalee visited the people in Sinipura today. Dairy farming is the main livelihood of the people of Sinipura. Despite engaging in dairy farming with much difficulties, the income they generate out of this trade is not sufficient.
Gammadda, made in Sri Lanka. Newsfirst with the people.
Divisavya, the second leg of the Divisavya program to provide much needed school books and stationery items to school children in Sri Lanka. 10th of November, Nuwara Eliya.
දෛ දරුවන්ගේ අනාගතය වෙනුවෙන් දිවිසවිය. LOLC ප්‍රජාසත්කාරක මෙහෙවර.
From that, we bring to a close this edition of Lunchtime News on TV1. For details of these stories and much more, simply log on to our website www.newsfirst.lk. For the News First, where the people come first, I'm Martin Satyanes. And you take care and good day.